We're less than a blink away from the gates of 2025 training camp bursting wide open, and while the excitement is through the roof, there's a weird storm cloud hanging over Halas Hall. And it's not just the usual pre-camp jitters, it's the contracts, the numbers, the decisions that leave you scratching your head like, wait, we signed who, for what? I'm talking about 4 players that Ryan Poles just officially locked in, and I swear I looked at these deals and thought, did we just time travel back to the 2017 Bears front office? Because some of this math, it doesn't add up. Not for a franchise that's finally climbing toward relevance again, not when we've got real playoff buzz circling this roster for the first time since that 2018 season. But before we dive into these 4 head-scratching deals, because yeah, this ain't your standard cut-and-dry breakdown, we're peeling the layers back and diving deep, I gotta pause and ask y'all for something way more important than cap numbers or positional value. It's my mom's birthday today. Yeah, today. So if you're watching this, please take a second and drop an HBD or a happy birthday down in the comments. Let's show her some Bears family love. She deserves it more than Travis Homer deserves $1 million guaranteed, and trust me, that's not even a joke. All right, back to the business at hand. Ryan Poles has been a man on a mission, rebuilding this roster brick by brick with some great moves. He's hit on big signings, crushed it in the draft, even nailed a few under-the-radar trades. But now, right before camp, he hands out 4 contracts that are making fans, analysts, and probably some folks in the accounting department go, what exactly are we doing here? I'm talking about offensive lineman Jordan McFadden, veteran running back Travis Homer, and 2 undrafted rookie wideouts, Jade Walker from Texas A&M and J.P. Richardson from TCU. 4 guys, 4 contracts, and honestly, 4 red flags that could haunt this team down the line if things don't go perfectly. So let's start with Jordan McFadden, a name that might not ring any bells unless you've been studying waiver wires and Chargers practice squad reports. This is a 6'2", 303-pound interior offensive lineman who came out of Clemson, was drafted 156th overall in 2023, and played just 13 games with only 2 starts across 2 seasons. Solid depth? Maybe. Starter caliber? Highly debatable. But here's the kicker. He's got a 2-year, $175 million deal with the Bears, and it includes over $250,000 in dead cap if he gets cut. That's not a futures contract. That's not a prove-it deal. That's a real commitment. And for a guy with just 176 NFL snaps and 0 sacks allowed, granted, it's a bold move that raises eyebrows. Poles picked him up early in the offseason, one of his first OL moves, in fact. But after completely overhauling the offensive line, we're now looking at this contract and going, wait, is this guy even making the final 53? Because if not, that's $250,000 down the drain, and when you're trying to build depth and chase high-value signings in 2026 and beyond, you cannot afford to be lighting cash on fire like that. Which brings me to the second name on this list, and if you followed this channel, you already know I've got thoughts: Travis Homer. Yeah, that Travis Homer. The one-time Seahawks special teamer who has now somehow ended up holding one of the most bizarrely generous deals on this Bears roster. 6 years in the NFL. Career rushing total? 475 yards. That's career, not season. And how much of that came in Chicago? 11. Not 11 games. 11 yards. So how in the world is this guy sitting on a 1-year, $175 million contract with $1 million guaranteed? Meaning we've got to eat that full mill even if he doesn't make the final cut. That's money that counts against the cap. That's money we could be giving to depth on the D-line or extending guys like Tevin Jenkins or Jalen Johnson. And for what? Homer's a special teamer, sure, but we've got plenty of those already. Amen, Blackwell, Daniel Hardy, and now even rookies coming in like Walker and Richardson who are also being touted for their special teams prowess. So again, why are we handing $1 million insurance policy to a guy with double-digit career yards in a backfield already stacked with DeAndre Swift, Roshan Johnson, Khalil Herbert, and Ian Wheeler? The math ain't mathin'. But maybe the most surprising thing of all is that these next 2 contracts might actually be the strangest. Let's talk about Jade Walker, undrafted rookie wide receiver out of Texas A&M. Athletic, long, fast, raw, promising, but also undrafted. You expect those guys to be fighting tooth and nail for a chance to make the practice squad. Instead, the Bears gave him a 3-year, $2,985 million contract. That's not nothing. And get this, over $200,000 in dead cap if he doesn't make the team. That's serious guaranteed money for a guy who, again, is an undrafted free agent with no NFL snaps. But man, you look at his measurables and you get it. 6'2", 199 pounds, blazing 4.4440, 34-inch vert, elite shuttle time. His YAC stats are eye-popping too. 16.9 yak per reception in 2023, 11.9 in 2024, so there's upside for sure. But are we paying for upside now? Is this the new Bears strategy? Because Poles is betting real cash on traits, and that could either be genius or reckless. And finally, there's J.P. Richardson, another rookie wideout, also undrafted, also signed to a nearly identical deal. 3 years, close to $3 million with over $200K in dead cap. And I know he flashed at TCU in 2024, had that touchdown return, clocked a respectable 4.53 in the 40. But again, he's a project, not a guaranteed contributor. So why are we backing up the Brinks truck for a guy who's most likely going to be battling for special team snaps or maybe WR6 duties? If it works out, Ryan Poles looks like a genius, a guy who zagged when everyone else zigged. But if these guys don't make the roster, and that's a real possibility for at least 2 of them, then we're left wondering how many extra dollars we could have used elsewhere, like locking up young core players early, or taking a swing at a mid-season trade, or even just insulating ourselves against injury with quality vet depth. These contracts aren't huge by NFL standards, but when you stack them together, that's nearly $1 million in potential dead cap for 4 guys who may not see a single snap this year. That's the kind of roster management that can quietly sabotage a promising season before it even begins. And with the Bears finally building something special, possibly the most complete roster we've had in 7 years, you gotta wonder, why take this risk now? Why hand out money like it's monopoly cash right when we're on the cusp of something real? I want to believe there's a master plan behind this, that Ben Johnson saw something on tape, that Richard Hightower begged for these guys, that Poles is working with inside intel we just don't have access to. But from where I'm sitting, it looks risky, it looks puzzling, and it raises real questions about how tightly this front office is managing the bottom of the roster. Still, I'm going to be watching these 4 guys like a hawk all camp. Because if any of them surprise, if any of them force their way onto this 53-man squad and contribute meaningfully, then Poles wins the gamble. But if they get cut before September and we're staring at nearly 7 figures of useless cap hits, then yeah, we're going to have to talk about accountability in that front office. So what do you guys think? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Which of these 4 guys do you think actually makes the roster? Who's getting cut before week 1? And which of these contracts, McFadden's, Homer's, Walker's, or Richardson's, do you think is the most questionable? I want to hear from y'all, and while you're down there in the comments, please don't forget, wish my mom a happy birthday. She's the MVP today. Smash that like button if you love this team and want to see the Bears make the playoffs. Subscribe if you're new because we're dropping more breakdowns, deep dives, and wild rants as camp kicks off. This is Grody signing off, and as always, bear down.